And it says all of them.
The previous president was.
Oh, that's wrong. It was coming.
We got some of that pull up out here.
It was great. I see, when I seen the announcement, but well made.
Nothing like that. You're looking just like me. We'll take the rest of that, and do the mustache.
I know, but you know that's for King's graduation.
That's it, Daddy had revival.
Do what? No, surprisingly not.
Hey, Paul.
No, they weren't on.
Did you get on my, I feel like I emailed you more today than I ever.
It's huge. Yeah. It was there.
I was like, I've never seen Paul do this to me. Either it was going to you or you were copied
It was
on.
that big whenever I was a kid. So it's it was at least 120, 140 years old. So, but I mean, it fell.
Yeah, I told you.
Sometime last spring, I think.
Carolyn,
So it's been down almost a
you
year.
that very first paragraph of your study. We're after the four lizards from 22. Yeah, both right there, one of the three right there.
Good.
Everyone's talking about, I said, well, you know, it's not me.
Or to make you detour around the railroad station.
Yeah. 6 o'clock, we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to do nomination process.
Sir, Julie Quinn. Here. Brad Johnson. Here. Wendell Ward.
Here.
Todd Smith. Here. Aaron Fraser.
Here.
Thomas Crawford. Here. Dr. Rico. Here. Danny Gill.
Here. Over your agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve. So moved. Second.
Julie Quinn.
Yes.
Brad Johnson.
Yes.
Layla Ward.
Yes.
Todd Smith.
Yes.
Aaron Fraser.
Yes.
Thomas Crawford. Yes. Dr. Rico. Danny Gill.
Look at the, minutes from March 11th meeting. Give you a few minutes to go over. Motion to approve. Second. Any further discussion?
Julie Quinn.
Yes.
Brad Johnson.
Yeah.
Layla Ward.
Yes.
Todd Smith.
Yes.
Aaron Fraser.
Aye.
Thomas Crawford.
Yes.
Dr. Rico. Danny Gill.
Yes. Other comments? Seeing none, move on to old business, none. Number 7, new business, the health department board. Approval of this Carter County Board of Health, you got a copy in your hand. I checked, there's no, anyone else on this board. Look it over. Have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jimmy to approve, Dr. Ringo. Second by Dr. Smith. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Any comments, commissioners? Seeing none, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second, on the clock.
We'll call the Carter County Budget meeting to order at 6:05, May 13th, 2024. We have the agenda before you. I need to add one item, under number 9. Letter K, we will add 171, noted amendment 1 item. The letter that is in reference to that is in the back of your packet, Jennifer O'Gell, TDEC Division Financial Assurance. It revolves around demolition, public call on that directorship.
He won't know. Well, if he's not aware of it.
I just read it on. Okay, are you gonna handle it?
Yeah, I'll need y'all's handle it on too.
I disclosed it, I
It's just the post closure, yeah, when that will be.
C and D land.
Yeah.
So we'll operate off the roll call for nominating. So with that addition, I need a motion to approve. Second. Primary, Commissioner Crawford. Are there any public comments? Seeing none. Close to public comments and review and approve budget committee meetings and hearing minutes. Just for the record, those occurred on April 8th, which was a budget meeting, March 26th, which was a budget hearing, March 28th, which was a hearing, March 16th was a hearing, March 23rd was a hearing, April 25th was a hearing, and April 3rd was a hearing. Noted on pages 3 through 16 in the package. I suspect that we should approve each one separately. So I will take the 5A first, April 8th, 2024. Budget meeting. As I said, those minutes are in the package. Bill makes a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Quinn. Any discussion, edits, additions, concerns? Hearing none, Chad, you come
Chili Quinn. Brad Johnson.
Yes.
Danny Deal.
Yes.
Layla Moore.
Yes.
Todd Smith.
Yes.
Aaron Fraser.
Aye.
Thomas Crawford. Dr. Ray.
Aye. Next on the approval list is the budget hearing of March 26, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Ward makes the motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Crawford. Questions, corrections, discussion? Hearing none, Chad, please.
Chili Quinn.
Yes.
Brad Johnson. Danny Deal.
Yes.
Layla Moore.
Yes.
Todd Smith.
Yes.
Aaron Fraser.
Aye.
Thomas Crawford.
Yes.
Dr. Ray.
Aye. Item 5C are the minutes from the budget hearing of March 28th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Gill makes a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Smith. Questions? Edits? Hearing none? Back, please.
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson.
Yes.
Danny Deal.
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith, Aaron Gretchen,
Abstain.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Acuff.
Next are the minutes from the budget hearing held on April 16, 2024. Floor is open for motion. Have not been delivered.
Motion to approve.
Prophet makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ward. Edits, discussion, questions? None?
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson. Danny Deal.
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Gretchen,
Abstain.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Acuff.
Item 5E, the budget hearing minutes from the April 23rd, 2024 meeting, which are also obviously in your package. Floor is open for motion.
So moved.
Johnson makes the motion. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Crawford. Any edits, additions, questions? Hearing none, check this off.
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson.
Yes.
Danny Deal.
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Gretchen,
Abstain.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Acuff.
Last in the packet are the minutes from the April 30th, 2024 budget hearing. It also included outside agencies on the list, and so I'm going to discuss, as well as a discussion of the required balance budget. That has been presented by this committee. So it's a motion for approval. Commissioner Gill makes the motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Parker. Edits, discussion, questions? Hearing none?
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson.
Yes.
Danny Deal.
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Same.
Aaron Gretchen,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Acuff.
All right, Bill, under old business, you'll also, which isn't noted on here, I think that you also have a preliminary expense report 101 dated April 2024. Please note that in the package. If you have a chance to look at it, I would suggest that you take a look. Next item would be update on ARP funding.
The current list is in your packet. There is one item that would be changed on the pending approval, and that would be for the trustee's office. That the amounts for their software and their computers be taken out of the administrative line and taken out of their budget. So once that's approved, that will change on that, on this report, but it will also change on their budget. Tomorrow night, if you would like for me to give you a revised copy of both this and that budget with those changes, and then I'm happy to get it out.
Probably. So I think now it went from $10,000 ask that Chad asked for last meeting to 27. Is that correct?
It was, there were 7,000 for the computers, and I believe it was 14,000 for the software.
Just sort of by hand saying, any questions on ALP funding or what we've done? for the trustee's office. I'm bored with that. All right. Next on our list, the questions. The audience is here to give us our communications. Everybody? Sir? Very good.
I reached out to Motorola on our communications system, updates where we're at, and right now, pending approvals are, the state of Tennessee has basically written off site and said it's good, but then we have, with the Native Americans, and this is with their council, and they have up to 30 days to respond, and if we're not quite to that 30 days, we're going to be about 5 days out of that. So I can follow through with that and see if we can set for the next commission meeting. So we're still waiting through from the Native Americans, we're just going to go there, and that's what we go in the next part of the process.
Questions? We have one here.
Sticking with how many radios are going to be charged for? The numbers that we have seen.
Those numbers actually, as I told the fire departments, we talked about the pagers, we had some discussions going on. They want to put some in their trucks, so they've got some in the trucks, that way everyone can respond to the pager, especially the key members, and they're going to have officers within the department, pretty much across the board. So we're actually down to 112 pagers, or I'm sorry, 112 portable radios. So we can't come out there all that.
At this point, everybody seems to be reasoning well. They don't need as many as they thought they did.
Most of the departments. Most of the departments. They're working with it. I'm not the bad guy.
No, no, I know.
So they're working with it. So it is working out pretty good so far. So that's 100%. So I think I told them, Motorola's original proposal, their proposal was 121. We had some numbers that at some point I came up with 136, which was correct, but now we're at 112. So we dropped 24.
Questions? Comments? If you get a final number from him on how many, have an idea, I know I talked to him last week. And he indicated he could find 10,000 numbers, if I remember correctly, it's even lower than what was listed on the sheet. Because he wanted to go with the truck idea that you mentioned. However, the truck gets there and responds, giving the response, and the lead will have radio for exposure. Now, you brought that down from the request.
Yeah, he's been down about 13, 14 radios, is what he's requested. And that's pretty good, it's about 13 radios. He said he could come down more if we need to, so we can shake a couple radios out. Work at it. That puts just about, looking at top there down at 13, because if he's got like 5 officers within the department, and he's got 6 seats in the truck, there's 11 right there. So that doesn't have a little weird. He's just got a 3 to stop right with us. 13 is not the right number.
What's the number of study?
40.
Well, they're still.
I thought we
Going trucks.
I thought we started out at 45.
No, all of them get in 40 radios.
So we got, how many trucks? 3, 4, 5?
They have 3 separate station houses, And he said as far as seats go in the trucks, he's got about 52 seats. So if you put a portable in every single truck, every single seat in the truck, you get more seats, more here. So,
That brings back to the original idea that they have 40 people responding to every fire. That's the whole point of going to 30 regular trucks, people who do respond, people who rail out the truck and work. So that kind of fits that purpose, we go by the seats. I mean, that alone drive Hampton up to about 35.
probably, and that's what Chris Isaac said too.
For the amount of responders that have been verified, is every fire department who developed fires submit a report to the Department of Insurance and Commerce and National, and it has the numbers of the respondents that were on the call. And I guarantee you, there's nobody higher than 40.
I think what I can discern from Stony Creek is the fact that they have over 40 responders that are available to go, but it's never the same two guys at different operations. So it rotates around through those people, so.
But the radars on the trucks, and the truck responds, it wouldn't matter who responded, so that radar on the truck.
What's the matter?
It's not.
I know.
Matter of command control, you get your top, one your captain, or I mean your chief, your assistant chief, and then your lieutenants over each one of the divisions. Anything other than them, they're the ones that be responsible, first responders and all out. And then you have a saddle inside of the truck, to where you would have 6 handhelds in there, to where if they come to the scene and they need it, they can withdraw it from that truck. Not that every one of them has to have a strap and a shoulder and a mic and everything else. And, they painted, they put lipstick on that whole guy 3 times, and it's still at home. I mean, you know. I don't know.
$6,000 for these.
The APX 4,000, already so under 9,000, just under 5,000 fees and all that stuff. If we do cut back on the number of portables for the departments and try to put them in the trucks, that's fine. What we have to do is actually go out and buy more pagers. Because we need those to have responders have some way to communicate back with dispatch.
Oh, yeah.
So if we're gonna increase them. We started out at 60 pagers, and right now, the total number of pagers that I see that they're requesting is 62. So I may have to go out back to at least 2, but if we change the number to portables, we're probably going to have to furnish more pagers. But they're $650 a year. Yes. So you're saying 57 per day per portable.
Saving $4,000. So, I mean, all for it, spot on the, but, you know, with that price, we need to be sure of how many we need and all those, you know. Because there could be a lot more uses of that money, how they are paid, instead of mobilizing.
$40 grand, it's looking right at $200,000 for $40 grand for one person.
Now, question, you might have addressed it when it first came up, like you have to excuse my hard ear. Has there been a contract price left from the supplier to us on the total amount that we're dealing with?
I asked him that question. I had a meeting with him last Thursday, and we had some things come up, we didn't meet Thursday. We did reschedule that for this coming Wednesday, so I'll be able to answer that after Wednesday. So, we'll go Wednesday and actually check it out and see where we're at.
The last one that was provided to, finance and to the, budget committee was, it is, I think, 2 years old now.
Yeah.
And it was just an estimate, it wasn't a contract quote. And our county is not in contract with them yet. Right. And the question I have toward the legal side of the house, when they deemed that the original specifications were sole source, where it eliminated competition. I didn't know how that still stood, whether those would be accepted or if they are going to overlook it, because we went to self-contract, or did that alleviate procurement requirements?
But, I mean, back at that time, the on-selected vendor was upset. I can't say that I personally agreed with their position. They took it as though way of written, it could only be one supplier, and basically any qualifying language that was in there that said or comparable, was irrelevant, that it can only be just one supplier. I didn't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I've not heard another word from that unselected vendor in all this time. The county made the selection, who to go with, and that's been whatever, 2 years ago or more. And, that process is over in my mind. But,
I mean, they had a big bearing on it, since it was deemed a prioritized thing, was written as such.
I mean, that was their interpretation.
Yeah, it was a sole source rather than
Lots of people got interpretations. That was their,
kind of like opinions.
yes.
But they are going to give a contract on our contract to our county for the amount of number of communication gear that you're going to announce to them, that you've shown them that we have to have. Right. Okay.
We'll be doing that contract. Part of the process is they won't write the contract until they complete their first family check, which will mean that that contract won't be written until they're actually approved for the right process and this thing. But it'll happen in a hurry because it's already got drafted. So all they have to do is massage that a little bit, make some changes, where we can make the changes, and it's ready to go. So they're on the ball on that part, and we've already done a lot of legwork for the rest of the system, like I told you before. And we're getting ready to move forward with all that, so we're sitting on the edge of our seats, waiting for the white rock to bust loose and what it does. So it's like, so things will start happening real fast then.
Any other questions, concerns? You may not need the extra radios, take into consideration damage, so we're down the road, we need to have on hand. If we get down to the point where we're at a reasonable number, we definitely don't see any deficiencies. So if one of those radios is broken, we would have to assume that we get a vital piece of equipment to them when we get it down to an acceptable number. Are they gonna be able to just give you a call and say, hey, we got a radio broken, we've got to replace it, so we're gonna have this here, or we're going
That's the plan. Now, I've got to make sure that all the numbers fit in there so we can do that. The makes and models that are in the system are different makes and models, so I can't just use like 5 radios on the service for everybody. So what I have to do is make sure that I've got enough for each department, basically. It's not actually a department, but each group of radios will need to be broken down where I've got a couple extra portables for those roles. And then once we get that, I'll keep those in written, probably have a order to reprogram sitting on the shelf. So we can hotspot.
So we had been spoken of before, and addressed what Todd said. Are we going to take responsibility for replacements? Because it being a grant, we're awarding, and you should be, should be considered that their department is responsible for replacements now. I don't think it's, maybe I overlooked it, but I don't think it's your responsibility as a communication officer that you or the county is responsible for replacement because damage, whatever reason, or theft or not.
For the first 3 years, everything's on warranty.
Yeah.
So during that time, we'll need portables to make sure that everything's working out. Because honestly, I don't know of any manufacturer out there that doesn't have a 3% failure. I mean, we'll get the radio, we'll all get it out of the box and we'll have to chip pack replacement. So it's almost everybody across the board, they are, we've got a small, a small failure rate. But once you get the second year, you're up and running. But if we have warranty issues, those later on down the road, we should be able to swap those. And if there's any damages, we can determine, as a commission, we can put that forward and see how you want to handle that. But, it depends on the damage. If it was, a truck runs over a radio, yeah, I think the department needs to be responsible for running over that.
But if you run over it, you should have somebody's neck around it. You give it a grip.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. Before we leave old business, allow me one privilege here. I know that we have the outside agencies on the list. Are we talking about them tomorrow night? And I apologize because you and I didn't get together last week. I got nothing to do this morning. So,
What I was hoping to do tomorrow night is to discuss that list.
okay.
And then also, we are putting together information for departments that have an additional ask. So that doesn't include insurance, that doesn't include elected official salaries that are state mandated. It would, or minor things like a contract increase, small contract increase, something like this. These were asked for additional items, additional staff, things of that nature. We'd like to kind of go back over those as well. I need to get a feel of where we're going, so I know how short we are. Because right now we're short if everything remains as it is right now. But I know that probably will not be the case. I'm working with the assessor's office to see what our new items are for this year, and I think we're pretty good on that. He and I had a discussion about that today, and I'm gonna follow up with him tomorrow to see where that number is. And then tomorrow night, we also need to discuss where we want to be on the collection rate for property tax. So I have an estimate for property tax. I mean, we as a county are at the 99% close. I don't think that's wise that we budget there. So right now, I'm somewhere between 96 and 97% as far as what that percentage of collection would be, which of course affects the penny rate and then tells me what our property tax will be for next year. I don't want to overstate that number because that's not something you can make up anywhere else. So we want to be very conservative with that number, but I want to feel from the committee as far as where you want that to be. Once I have those two items and I kind of know where we're going with some of these other additional ask items, then I'll have a better idea of where we stand. Because right now, we do not have enough funds to cover everything. But that's if everything that's been presented was paid out at 100%. And I know that won't be the case. Just from the discussions that I've had. So I need to get a better feel of where we're going with some of those items so I will know where we stand. So that's what I was hoping we could do tomorrow night.
Okay, all right, because I know that in our discussions at one of the hearings, we have lowered the amounts and taken some folks off this list.
Yes, and we discussed it, but we didn't make any.
Well, we couldn't have here.
Yeah.
We couldn't
So-
have meetings.
I want to make sure that's where we're going. I have already kind of looked at some of those and taken some of them out, and I know there was some additional discussion on some of the items, so I wanted to be sure that we're going to put that in the schedule to see where we were, and then once we start the other discussions, then I'll kind of have a feel of what we're at.
So, because I noticed that 911 is here tonight. We're going to address that issue with this list tomorrow. Then they can look. Need to walk around for us to drive.
Yeah, I said we would do that. I do have a few budgets. We got some additional information, which I was going to talk about that later, on, some of the elected official salaries. So we get like an official word, Jacqueline gives it and then gave it to me. And some of those are different than what I estimated in our original discussion. So now I have that final number, so I'll give those out tonight.
Okay? Well, sorry to put you all in.
Very sure that, but, you know, added with it, there's also a headache with that, if we're gonna do it that way. Because, we look at each one of our budget hearings, where we have 141 requests from have outside agents. Now, if we are going to discuss those areas in both of them, I'm going to have a willpower to get our documents here, because we were all issued the request, and we've had notes on, so which one are we going to use? So you don't have no choice but to bring everything you've done.
Well, I think if we can start with 101 tomorrow night, and I can kind of get a feel of where we're going. 141 is kind of is what it is. I think Brandon's looking at me. I mean, that one, we know what we are required to do, and so that's where we're at on that one, and that was within the budget that they presented. Landfill, I know we've still got a couple of things to discuss on landfill, but I mean, it's been presented as it is. I think you had a couple of changes you wanted to make on it, correct?
Yeah, we made it. I've got some budget this year, but we're good with what I put in.
Okay,
So we're just going to deal with 141 Marner,
101.
I mean, 101.
Yes. I think that's where we start in outside agencies. We start with those. I've got, Shannon and I've got to meet on some things on highway, but theirs is kind of a separate animal, and they are self-funding, other than what was required from the county for the 5-year average, and I can't give him that number until we decide on what we're doing as far as what the collection rate and so forth will be with the county.
Certainly would like for us to put the name of the outside agencies. Sooner than later. Just so that we'll know who's not on the list, who's on the list, how much we're giving. So we have a bottom line figure to deal with before we do the rest of the needs. I know several have talked about if there's going to be any funding for raises this year. We have not discussed that to need money or extend it. Maybe we won't, but we need to have that discussion.
Yeah, until we kind of decide where we are on some of these other items, I haven't even gone down that road, I'll be honest with you, for that reason, because I see what the ask is and I see what the available funds is, and they're not matching it. If everything remains as it currently is. So that's why I need to kind of get an idea of what direction we're going in. So I can say, okay, it looks like we're going to be short this, or we've got this extra, and right now I don't know what the number is, because there's still too many fluid items that could change.
That calls the turn to, Mr. Chair, as I discussed with you earlier, we're in the middle of May. I mean, come on, we still have not even discussed, and I know it's coming March starting, but we've got to vote on each one of them. And you know what a pain in the kazoo that was last year, and even the year before that was a total nightmare. But let's don't get caught in that again.
Yeah, well, that's why I was hoping if we could just start talking about it and everybody think about it. And these are the ones, that's why I was saying we look at the ones first that have the additional ask and say, okay, this is something we can do, can't do. So we at least have an idea of where we're going. Then I can come back with a better number of, hey, this is what we're short, or this is what we can left.
Would it be better to look at those departments that have additional asks first, with the outside agencies last, just in case? We have needs, I mean, departments that, look at the needs they've got, and look at the outside agencies last.
Regardless, whichever it goes, we got two sides, we got to take care of it. You know, we gotta get off the park. I mean, it's gonna, if you don't, you're gonna get into long hours. It don't seem like it when you go through all the documents and presentations that make on the outside agencies. So you may think, you know, the majority of it was pretty well the same as the previous year, no problem. But look at the one that's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem. And it's gonna take some time.
Yeah, and I mean, that was just my recommendation. If you all want to go a different route, we certainly can do that. The other thing we'll need to talk about is tomorrow night is the last scheduled meeting until the next regular meeting for budget, which obviously we need more meetings to have some of these discussions. So I've got some dates kind of written down that we probably need to talk through to find out when people are available and how many more meetings you want to schedule to get this done.
So I would advise everybody to look at the calendar tonight. Let's talk about it tomorrow.
That's what I was kind of thinking we might, because we'll have
See
to
where we are.
coordinate between other meetings as well, so we don't have any more conflicts. Because we do have a conflict tomorrow night, is we're starting at 6:30 instead of at 6, because you're going to be chairing the other meeting that's going to be held in here, and we will be in the conference room. So that was on the schedule, but I wanted to make sure that everybody saw that that was clear.
So even if we do have to use the conference room or so, the meeting, we should be effective because we are not in the other standing committees. So it doesn't become a conflict.
Yeah, just the one tomorrow night. It's just.
So we won't have to be concerned with the dates of the others.
Okay. Thank you. Carry on with the agenda. So we're now in new business. And I misspoke earlier, I thought our discussion was to rescind resolution 688, which is the balance budget. And I see, I guess we can think about it. Shows you how my mind is split in these things.
Yeah, financial management, yeah,
I did that.
but you all can vote.
Yeah, we need
Two, both committees consider it for the job.
Right, so we've got that copy of the resolution 688 packet. So the vote from financial management was to rescind it. It was unanimous. So, what is your pleasure for resolution 688 from the budget committee? Motion made by Commissioner Gill to rescind, Commissioner Smith second. Any questions?
That's the comments, Chair. One we got to keep in mind that when you resolve this, presently we have set up for at the end of the year, funds that is unencumbered that is turned back into our general accounting. That actually goes away because see, we had it in the resolution, half of it goes to capital improvement, half goes to the unassigned fund balance. If this is taken down, then that becomes or can become automatic for the chair of the budget committee to determine your budget hearings, whether we need, it's dependent on the amount, unencumbered amount that we can say, okay, 35% this next year for capital improvements, and the remainder go to unassigned fund. That's, it might want to keep that in mind while we're doing it, because that changes completely. There's more of that.
Give more flexibility.
Huh?
Give more flexibility.
Well,
The lower percentage of capital.
you can work it other way, but going when they're changing hats, like on the budget committee, and you put the new chair, the chair needs to know that, you know, the committee as a whole is the one that makes recommendation to the full commission on those percentages. If it stays the same, fine. If whatever is the wishes of the majority. But those options out there, they need to keep that in mind.
The original intent behind this resolution was, as we already heard at the time, we have a lot of building ground projects and no money. So we went this route for a purpose. Johnson's absolutely right. We need to keep that in mind.
We run smack out through all that. Get a mayor.
You did. Nice job, you killed us.
That's a building,
Yeah, all the buildings are in very good shape though. All our county buildings are in very good shape.
So, well, it shouldn't be buildings in the much property we have. There has to be actually annually a little bit of maintenance money, because you're gonna wind up like we were before we came in here. Things just went awry, no hands or hammers or screwdrivers put on. And, basically the majority of our buildings are, I'm gonna say, old. And they require maintenance. So that feature that went on this, and when it was instituted, I mean, it paid dividends without a doubt.
Yeah, why repeal it rather than just amend it?
Well, this is the recommendation of the audit team from Nashville. They wanted to go away. Yeah, I know, but it's everything. But if it don't go away, then you're gonna have the third year of the same time.
I want to clear something up in my own mind, because I had to read this for about 10 times. Different. Yeah, this reads it like you're establishing a separate reserve capital improvement fund. Is that the case, or is it just the capital improvement fund and that's it?
it's a reserve account, so,
I mean, the regular capital improvement fund and a different one, or is it?
no, there's one reserve.
I just want to make sure we don't rescind something that says we've established an account, and keep it in the account, okay.
No, the reserve still exists, it's just the percentage of
Okay.
the amount of funds that go in at the end of the fiscal year will be determined a different way.
And for Aaron's question, I mean, I think you can still do this every year, exactly like you have been, if that's what you want to do. You're just not stuck to a rule to follow. So why have the rule where it's just like putting a hurdle in front of yourself and you don't have to? You still do this every year. It's just, if you don't, there's no harm, no foul. If you do, something else comes in.
We're following our own rule, that's why we keep getting on here.
Well, which part of the rule are we following?
The,
Looking through here, I'm not seeing where the violation is laid.
it was in the audit finding, there was money taken from the general fund balance to balance the budget. It wasn't strictly funded through revenues or property taxes. There was money taken from general fund to balance an office budget, and that's the issue. So, I mean, obviously, if you're bound by law to spend a balanced budget, you have to do it. But you put down a rule that says you can't touch the general fund to do it. You know, why do that? Why limit yourself? If you have to, you have to. And that's, that's the point. And that was what they wanted to do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, none of us went through it, read it, and understand it, and then used it and everything else. If it smells like it, tastes like it, feels like it, it has to be, to see what the difference would be. But you get the audit finding, and unless somebody else wants to go first, that's the hot seat, you need to make sure it needs to go away, period, or we're going to be in worse shape next year.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor and a second to this. Are there points to be made, questions to be asked?
I think 2/3.
Two-thirds. It's hearing none, Chad, call the roll for this.
Julie Wynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson.
Yes.
Danny Hill,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Craig,
No.
Thomas Crawford, Dr. Echo.
Aye. So, unanimous, thank you. Stay in 7B, our next meeting, is Tuesday at 6 p.m. Which come on out, we'll discuss dates for actions. So, we haven't been in seat for an hour, before we get through these amendments, you want to take 10 minutes? Or you want to go on?
Sure.
Right, let's say 10.
Can we just say now, I'm gonna have it in here for 45 minutes. Not even coming in the door, none of that stuff. Oh, we'll have the lower bottom 2 hours. We'll wait it out. He said you'll.
I'll be down for that. I printed one out. Or I mean, so I was like, I was just like. See what it is. We did add the 6.
This whole time, he said, okay, the person, because before we get some new equipment, we have a lot of grass. I like her, don't say anything part of your.
Give that big slave, and then bring X amount of dollars.
You really like make a hat off. I saw you walking around. I swear I thought it was Steve getting tobacco or something. You mean that get diplomatic? Come on, give me any options. And y'all both look great from behind.
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna skinny fry.
Now, if 911, what you know, to the increase on PCR.
I still around the golf, there's a hole in the
All right, let's go back to order. Let's start with item for general fund 101, there are 21 amendments as a part of the 101. So, I can give you the bottom line total. I think we want to go down item by item, but you can see the increase and decrease for each line item on the extreme right side. So let's just go item by item, and I'll let you know, you can follow along, we'll vote it up or down at the end. So item number 1 is for the year-end adjustments, the animal shelters budget in the amount of $67,325.75. Item number 2 is to recognize and appropriate funds from mental health transport grant. Purchases will include a transport vehicle, installation of a radio, transport vehicle, and an AED unit, and first aid kit for transport vehicle in the amount of $33,645.47. Item number 3 is to reallocate funds within the existing sheriff's office budget to cover the cost of preparation and supplies for the Lee Academy. And that's total is, let's see what else. $1,650. Are you okay with that? Okay, item number 4, to reallocate funds from the sheriff's current budget to purchase a computer, ammunition, and repairs to an AC unit, amount of $8,000. Item number 5, to reallocate funds from the trustees' current budget to cover various needs throughout the current year, given cleanup in the amount of $348. Item number 6, $49, I'm sorry, I missed it. Item number 6 is to reallocate funds within the trustees' current budget in the amount of $200. Item number 7, to reallocate funds within the property assessor's current budget to cover vehicle repairs in the amount of $350. Item number 8, to reallocate funds within the property assessor's current budget for the purchase of a new computer in the amount of $1,662. Item number 9 is to yearly adjustments to budget for building and grounds in the amount of $44,419.62. Item number 10, year-end amount adjustments to the mayor's budget. The county official's budget is based on an estimate in the amount of $950. Item number 11, yearly adjustments to budget for the budget in the amount of $2,525. Item number 12, year-end adjustments to the communications budget in the amount of $2,010. Item number 13, to reallocate funds within the communications fund budget to ship testing equipment in the amount of $1,000. Item number 14, to recognize jail board bill revenue and allocate funds for the SRO grant required to be spent on SRO equipment in the amount of $209,836.34. Item number 15, to recognize and allocate funds from the Violent Crime Intervention Fund grant. This grant is for training and equipment in the amount of $9,080.02. Item number 16, year-end adjustments to the clerk and manager's budget in the amount of $2,900. Item number 17, year-end adjustment to the sheriff and jail's budgets in the amount of $588,000. Item number 18, to reallocate funds within the coroner's current budget to outfit and equip an additional coroner in the amount of $725. Item number 19, gearing adjustment to the EMA budget in the amount of $2,605. Item number 20, to reallocate funds within the human services current budget to purchase office supplies in the amount of $400. Item number 21, to recognize and allocate funds from the TCI training and equipment grant in the amount of $15,000. That total coming to $1,085,136.58, nothing from reserve funds or unassigned fund balance.
Motion to approve.
Frazier, motion. Is there a second? Second. Questions? Your discussion? Chad, you want to call the roll?
Julie Quinn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Deal,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Ager.
All right. Next is the solid waste line number 116. I have one budget amendment, putting a number of things, increases and decreases, you can see on the right-hand side. Year-end adjustments for the solid waste budget to be a total of $54,380.17, nothing from fund balance, nothing from unassigned fund balance. Williams makes the motion.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Frazier. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, Chad?
Julie Quinn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Deal,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Ager.
Aye. Item number 9C is Health Department Fund 117, budget amendment number 3. One item to reallocate funds within the Health Department's current budget to cover various needs in the amount of $5,000, nothing from fund balance or outside fund balance.
I make the motion.
Johnson makes a motion, Commissioner second. Second, by Commissioner Pearson. Have questions? Hearing none, Chad?
Julie Quinn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Deal, Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Ager.
Next item is Park and Rec Fund number 127, budget amendment number 1, to appropriate ARP funds for various projects previously approved.
And that's not
That's
our
the
own
wrong
fund.
fund.
That's a special revenue fund, they are.
Okay. Change your title here to Parks and Rec Fund. Special revenue. Number 127, budget amendment 1. ARP funds for various projects previously approved in the amount of $1,477,767.95, nothing from reserve or unassigned fund balance.
Why is there a discrepancy between the totals? Because one's 1,477,000 and one's 1,471,000.
No, it's just to
The
clarify.
AEDs, I believe, but it's not a copy of the case. They're all that something, and So the AEDs,
So the AEDs, yeah.
So which figure, the figure we need to,
And further explanation, this comes out of the ARP funds, we're just splitting them between the accounts.
right,
So it's money that was already spent, but it was not allocated in the right account, so we're putting it in the right.
In other words, it's already been approved.
Yes, yeah, it's just logistics of what account number it's in.
Carol will provide this before it gets into the full commission.
Yeah, that AEDs was, I said that, well, last, that one, the AED.
so which one are we?
the follow-on class is correct.
So the $1,477,267.95 is the correct.
Yes.
Glenn makes the motion to approve. Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Crawford, any other questions? Hearing none, Michelle?
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Deal,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Echo.
Next is the Highway Public Works Fund, number 131, budget amendment number 6. 3 items here. First item is to recognize and allocate funds from the sale of equipment to the landfill, purchase of trailer in the amount of $60,000. Item number 2, to reallocate funds within the Highway Department's current budget. The order was to deliver multiple small loads causing the tonnage to increase in the amount of $440. And item number 3, to reallocate funds within the Highway Department's current budget due to an increase in paving instead of patching in the amount of $45,000. Total coming to $105,440.00. Nothing reserves.
Motion to approve.
Bill makes the motion. Is there a second? Second. Commissioners, any questions, comments? Okay, you ready?
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Deal,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Echo.
Next is general purpose school fund number 141, budget amendment number 8. 3 items. First item is to reallocate funds within the public school security grant in the amount of $27,342.93. Item number 2 is to reallocate funds within the voluntary pre-K grant in the amount of $15,602.31. Item number 3, increase supervisors' state retirement life insurance Medicare line items to reflect actual expenditures, increase teachers' line items to account for additional tutoring hours, decrease educational assistance, travel, and in-service to balance budgets, and account for actual expenditures within the 21st CCLC cohort remaining grant in the amount of $4,929.22. Need to look at place. So the item number 4, still on the general purpose school fund 141. Item 4 is to increase teachers' line item to account for additional tutoring, decrease owner line items to balance the items and reflect actual costs for the 21st CCLC cohort. 2023 grant in the amount of $3,600. Item number 5, to increase supervisor retirement line items to reflect actual cost, decrease educational assistance to budget balance budget line items within the LEAPS grant in the amount of $2,852.88. Item number 6, to reallocate within maintenance major category for the year ending $148,062.54. Item number 7 is to recognize and appropriate funds for summer camps grant totaling TDOE approval, $443,257.00. Item number 8 is to recognize and appropriate funds for summer camps, transportation grant from DOE approval, $80,390.65. Item number 9, to increase travel for students and teachers to attend national competitions to reallocate funds for equipment for classroom use and $45,894.06. Item number 10, to reallocate funds within GP for year-end cleanup in the amount of $276,162.00. Item number 11, to reallocate funds within technology major category for year-end cleanup in the amount of $31,847. Item number 12, to reallocate funds within the maintenance category for year-end cleanup in the amount of $161,313.15. Item number 13, to appropriate funds for purchase of school buses previously approved on 4/11/2024 in the amount of $413,500. Item number 14, to clean up budget for trustee and commission line item for year end in the amount of $250,000. And item number 15, to recognize and appropriate funds from Nice Summer Summer Grant in the amount of $116,183.40. Total for this amendment is $1,960,942.04, and that fund balance for unassigned funds. Pardon me, unassigned fund balance is in the amount of $413,500.
Like, on the, unassigned fund balance below number 15, that'd be, that's the Board of Education's.
Unassigned fund balance, that's what we need.
Yes, it's, recognizing additional revenue.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Frazier, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Ward. Questions?
We got one on number 6. Supervisor's grant, $51,000 increase.
Which one?
Number 6. We are taking in much, make the category for hearing.
Just trying to renew
What is
the maintenance. Is that the bus garage, is that in 2710?
The bus garage, we changed the supervisor of the bus garage, there's a difference in pay over the issue last year with the comp trouble, we made some changes. Brought in their supervisor, and his pay is different than the one we had. And for a time period, we paid 2 supervisors until that guy's contract was midway through, if that makes sense. So, well, the big overlap was the gentleman that we hired had never been through the weather or delays and things, and he basically had to be trained. So for a time period, those 2 supervisors. That is down to 1 though.
Any others?
The bulk of that also is, the school bus. The bulk of this money is the school purchase of the school bus, for money that we move from things we save, is if we're running $30,000. And then the rest of the bulk of the money is the, actual summer school grant that we got from the state. It just came in properly.
Others? All right. Anybody have any questions?
Julie Quinn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Dillon,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Right.
Thomas Crawford, Dr. Eric.
Okay, next, one is the school federal project, number 142, budget amendment. Okay, there are 6 items. The first item is to reallocate additional funds within the CTE focus basic grant to match E-Plan TDOE approval in the amount of $1,995.58. Item number 2, we allocate funds within the Title I part-pay grant to match E-Plan in the amount of $142,573.04. Item number 3, to recognize and allocate additional funds for the IDEA Part B grant in the amount of $74,939. Item number 4, to recognize and allocate additional funds for the IDEA preschool grant in the amount of $2,073. Item number 5, to recognize and allocate funds for the Title III grant in the amount of $5,795.17. And item number 6, to reallocate funds within the Title II Part A grant to match E-Plan, comes to a total of $240,607.48. Fund balance for unassigned account balance, and just need a motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion and questions? Okay.
Julie Quinn, Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Dillon,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yeah.
Aaron Frazier,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Eric.
Aye. Next is the food service fund number 143, budget number, amendment number 2. 4 items. First item is to recognize and appropriate supply chain assistant grant funds for fiscal year 23-24, in the amount of $112,428.34. Item number 2, to reallocate funds between line items, pay scale adjustments, and full-time retirement bonus in the amount of $13,400. Item number 3, to reallocate funds between the line items due to price increases in TSNA conference travel in the amount of $13,600. Item number 4, to reallocate funds between lines for summer trash removal fees in the amount of $4,800. Total from this agreement is $144,228.34, nothing from reserves or unassigned.
Motion to approve.
Frazier makes the motion, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Clark. Any questions? Okay. Jeff?
Julie Quinn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Dillon,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford, Dr. Eric.
Next is the Head Start Fund number 145, budget amendment number 5. One item here, a few descriptors. In terms of what It is added a certified substitute, increased budget to clean up line items, and purchase instruction supplies, clean up the line item, purchase pencil boxes for Head Start students going to kindergarten, pay for CDC for 2 Head Start, educational aids and lodging for 10 teachers, educational aids to attend conference in Nashville, and to decrease the line item for lodging for teachers and aides to attend Elevate National. That total comes to $3,200, nothing fund balance or Commissioner Prophet makes the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Frazier. First. Okay, we're ready. There are no questions. Call the roll.
Julie Quinn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson.
Yes.
Danny Deal. Yes. Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Craig,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Echo.
Okay, Education Capital Project Fund number 177, budget amendment number 1 item to clean up budget for trustee, commission line item for year end, the amount of $20,000, nothing from reserve or assignment.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Motion, is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Ward. Any questions? Hearing none, Jeff?
Julie Quinn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Deal, Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Craig,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford, Dr. Echo.
Next item is Capital Project Fund number 171, budget amendment number 1. Item, there's only one item to set up a budget for jail HVAC replacement. One amount received was $2,503,150. So we have a total on this amendment of $2,995,671.92. Nothing coming from reserve funds or anything coming from unassigned funds.
The remainder came from the reserve fund for the, board seal. But that was already designated for that 2 years ago, so, but it did come from that reserve account.
All this has been approved, this is just incorporating into a line.
Yes.
Straight out.
Everybody understand?
Motion to approve.
Craig makes a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Warren. Questions? We're ready. Sorry.
Julie Quinn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Deal, Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith, Aaron Craig,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Echo.
We come to item 9A, 171, budget amendment 1. One item, please note in your packet, there's a letter dated May 10, 2024, from Jennifer Delphin to the mayor. And Mayor, if you want to explain what's going on with you. Talk about it.
Yeah. Contract.
So, yeah, there was originally a contract entered into in 1999, which dealt with having a performance, a contract obligation in lieu of performance bond to secure the closure, post-closure of the land, the demolition land. So the state allowed me to put that in place, to have the money available, when the time comes, or if something comes up that's a hazardous situation where the landfill's closed, that you have the money on hand to cover the costs, instead of actually having to take out a bond, you just have to sign a performance contract with them. And every so often it increases based on inflation and everything else, but it's been amended many, many times over the years. But this one is provided that the total sum now is $1,224,250. And so they require this to be signed by the mayor, every time that amendment occurs, just to say we're obligating that amount, on the land. That basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. What I'm doing right now is working on closure, post-closure.
limit to 16,000 cubic yards was not utilized in the area it's supposed to be. We're starting to haul dirt now to build cover. Once we get that covered, then we start post-closure on that section, which is basically about 250 feet up on the landfill base, back down into the retention pond. The retention pond was filled full of rubbish. It's just a terrible place. But anyways, long story short, we're doing the clean out on it and trying to truck all that. I did have to remove 70 cubic yards of the landfill that was outside of our perimeter to meet one of the violations that were wrote up about 7 years ago. So I'm working on that. So at the end of the day, when we close that place or we expand it, whichever way we go, we'll have closure on sections of it, which has never been initiated in the last 15 years. So with that said, you know, that's a big amount of money that Benny was saying it's going to cost $50,000 for prior administration was what he was turning into DDEC. And they finally called that when we wrote it up about 2 years ago. So I had to go back in and do all the recalculations and the cost initiatives, and that's what we came up.
So we're approving the amendment of contract with the performance bond in now of $1,224,250.
That's only if we fail to complete our task.
You see the summary sheet and the calculation of financial returns.
And if you remember back with the $125,000 back already in our line items to cover portions of that. So we'll be doing more in custom this year.
Motion to approve.
Fraser makes the motion to approve the contract. Second. Any other questions about what you see before you do the summary sheet? All right.
Philip Wynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson, Danny Daly,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Brady,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford. Yes. Dr. Echo.
Okay, we come down to donation lists, animal shelter. Cash donations in the amount of $58,449.11 for the April 2024 cash donations.
Isn't that the annual? Oh, that was unrestricted donations, sorry.
And so part of it is, normal donations and the other is unrestricted donations.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Questions? Okay.
Philip Wynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson. Danny Dillon,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Brady,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford,
Yes.
Dr. Echo.
Last item, for the donation listing, the Walmart donations for the month of April 2024 is approximately $1,320. When makes the motion to approve? Second by Commissioner Deal. Questions? Hearing none.
Philip Wynn,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Danny Dillon,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Aaron Brady,
Aye.
Thomas Crawford.
Okay. Budget discussion is an item number 11.
Part of it we already did.
So also bring the sheets that he handed out for tomorrow.
Yes, and we'll have a couple more that we need to add to
Do it
that.
all at once.
And we may have some additional budget amendments tomorrow night, because as you can tell, we're trying to do year-end cleanup. And I will say, if you've noticed some of these items, we are what I call overfunding the accounts on some things that are questionable that can change toward your account. So anything that, because we won't have that information until after it's too late to do a budget amendment. So anything that I see that were issues last year, even though we tried to do this last year, we're overfunding it even further this year to try to keep that from being an additional write-up. I mean, it honestly, in a lot of circumstances, is a guessing game to try to figure some of these things out, because we won't have that information until after it's too late to make a budget. So we're just basically overfunding the account from additional line, or from other line items in that particular budget.
Comments from commissioners?
I was getting something thrown at me, I do have one. And I keep trying to keep, I don't mean to be a dead horse, but going back to the radio situation. Knowing in the past how the fire association has requested that all the stations receive the same support across the board. Seems like we're approaching this round with the radios in a completely different manner. We're allowing them totally to tell us what they want. And it's definitely not going to be equal across the board through every station. That all confused me, seeing how some things that went down in the past. Always setting ourselves up for the same thing again. Going back from some of the other stations, being short-ended on their end of the deal. Just something right around in my head.
Just for discussion, of course, we make it even across the board for every department to be identical, like I said. But since this is having to deal with the numbers of participants, which the other thing we've had to decide, that what we're, you know, that dog had no fight in this thing. If that made a difference.
I understand what you're saying.
But it, you know, when we went back, when we first initial had, and Dr. Aker corrected her add to the discussion on communication contract of the ARP, it was up to the final day that the departments finally, they had made a decision the day before we had the final hearing on what system they want to use. Everybody was in agreement, and when we met the next day, it was 100% totally different. I mean, the initial battle was unbelievable, and it stunned everybody, as to how they want to go. I think they're about like us as commissioners, as a full commission, everybody's got a different idea on it. I mean, we can't come to a conclusion, so.
I think the way to kind of look at it, Mr. Smith, is to look at it to make sure we're applying the same rules to all of them. So if we decide we're going to fund 80% of the seats in every truck, just as an example, as long as we do that for each department, then that would be a fair distribution on radios. You can't bring it down to the dollar amount because they don't have the same number of people. It's like safety equipment, you know. A department that only has 6 to 10 guys that roll versus Hampton or Stony Creek where they could have 20 or 25 potentially roll. They don't need to have 20 or 25 suits of Nomex and tanks, but they do need to make sure that they've got 100% of the guys that can show up and go in the house covered.
Because they don't have the same amount of equipment per department. You may have one department may have 3 tankers, may have an old pumper, a new pumper, 2 tankers for another department, maybe minus 1, but as Mr. Spraker states, you know, we gotta make sure that it's even, and it is. The equipment, the communication or the equipment what they have is identical. I mean, if you have a bumper, it's going in, or if you have a tanker, it's going in, or even though you may have more department than the other, it's because of size more than me.
Filling the seats is the most important thing, and if you don't have a radio on, you're not going inside the building. If they've got somebody that is, works from home and can show up every time, yeah, give that the radio, because he'll probably be the first guy that shows up most of the time. But, and if he has to go in the house, yeah, I want that guy to have a radio, but as far as making sure that it's equal as far as the dollar amount goes, you'll never get there. It's just chasing this world that it's faster.
I think Ryan's making point that the radio to the seats on the trucks, I think they need to get the radio to the seat, to the trucks, on how many trucks they have. Then that way, they'll have a true number. And it will be, if you've got a radio to the seat, to the truck, then it will be because one's got 5 trucks and 4 seats, 20 radios. One's got 2 trucks, 5, 6, 10 radios. I mean, to me, that makes good sense because I've been told that radio numbers will be high. So we're talking about $4,700 a piece. That's a big difference. I think we need a true number. I think we need a true number of persons.
That's why I mentioned, the documents that the fire departments have to supply the state, those are the true numbers.
It has to be a matter of what they need, not what they want. It always is in regards to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they would love to have all new equipment, but, we're not funding 100%. I just can't wrap my mind around the complete difference. It just blows me away. I think if I hadn't had so many long conversations with Chief Isaac trying to understand some of this, if anything, I think it kind of boggles my mind a little more since these numbers are coming from. But that's all. I just wanted to get that out of my mind. So I wouldn't lay down at night going, what word is that? My wife said, shut it up, and how that.
Probably people deal with that, anything to deal with electronics. Because as, as example, our communications officers, if we got a user, he would have a totally different idea because ITs, there is no tool. They wire it, they look at their perspective on what you're trying to accomplish is completely different. And you go with what you got with the day, make the rest of it work with it. Because if you don't think so, look at the system we got here for the commission. I remember when it came up to purchase or to review or to adjust or whatever you want to call it. There was 4 different ITs and there was not a one of them could stand up for us and tell us how they think. I mean, there was no lie at all. And it's still the same now. We're looking at telephone system, communication system within the building. Well, maybe if you know that language. But the biggest majority of it is pick up that receiver, you say hello, and somebody talks on with their mission calls.
Adios. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Now, these here,
Six thirty.
Who seconded the new?
I'm not all that.
I didn't hear that.
Take that truck and carry them all.
Me and Amy,
Okay, and I, put in your
Right.
I got it reserved them all, take them out, guard them out.
Real quick.
Rain in the next 3 weeks.
I think they can.